Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Lock Shop on a Monday. Dusty and Huss with you. Keyword for Vegas coming up probably around like 11:40 today. Then we'll call a qualifier around 11:50 when Huss slides away for Winnipeg Sports Talk. And, boy, we've got lots to get to. Crazy weekend in the world of sports. We'll dive into the madness. We'll dive into MLB opening weekend. We'll dive into NHL action. We'll get to the Houston Open. As far as NHL slates go tonight, we got a nice one on a Monday. We'll set that up as well. Women's March Madness tonight. I see Mark over in the Nasty Chat saying Iowa versus LSU. So hyped. That's Caitlin Clark in the house against her arch rivals from LSU. I don't know what the play is on that game, Huss, but I got to have a piece of it tonight.
Yeah, that is going to be wild, man. I mean, there's been plenty of conspiracy theorists that have said the NCAA has been working towards this matchup for the entire tournament. I don't really have a take on that, but listen, Caitlin Clark, sort of a phenom in her own right. We all remember Angel Reese and LSU from last year, and for the most part, I've been kind of more engaged by the women's tourney than I have been the men's tourney so far this year. That being said, that bulldozer and NC State getting to the Final Four was pretty interesting. And, of course, the Canadian Zach Edey. I am just happy I am officially eliminated from the brackets.
You got nothing left?
Everyone's out. Well, I think I have UConn, but I didn't have them.
Everybody's got
winning.
UConn. So
yeah. Well, I had Houston. They got bounced by Duke, who then got bounced by NC State. So by the transitive property, my picks were even worse than I thought they were at the beginning.
Around here, around the EST offices, Lieutenant Eric's got 3 of the 4 in the Final Four, including NC State. He picked NC State to go on a run, and he got it. So he's got NC State, Purdue, and UConn, which should lock up the EST first ever bracket challenge for Lieutenant Eric. So a hell of a call on NC State. It'll be interesting. It's funny because they're already building. Well, we're with the madness right now, so let's just get into it. And by the way, if you are listening on TuneIn or on iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, feel free to fire us a text 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. I would love to know if anybody does have a pick or a play on this Iowa LSU game tonight. You can also hit us up in the Nasty Chat as well. I'm sure a few of our regulars will have some sort of. I'm sure Rod Z slides in with a Caitlin Clark tweet at some point, or some sort of trend.
I'm not going to say this is my official play for tonight, but
okay.
I have been blindly betting whoever is playing Iowa with the point spread for the last couple of games. Just knowing that there's the phenom of Caitlin Clark and so many people are going to be jumping on them and just blindly betting her and their team.
So you're just trying to get the value on the other side.
I just figured they'd be overvalued the other side. Maybe I missed the last game, but I mean, they were 14.5-point favorites against West Virginia. That game was like a 2-point game late in the third. It kind of got more lopsided by the end. I think it might have ended up a 10-point game as they got into fouling and whatnot. But the line for this one is close. I mean, it's a 2.5-point spread for Iowa. LSU on the money line is plus 107. And the Hawkeyes are minus 137. And that's a 6 o'clock game tonight, too, or 6:15.
Yeah, 5:15 at 5:15 Edmonton time. Yeah, which is nice. It's like before the Oilers game.
Yeah, I have no idea why the Jets are playing an 8 p.m. local game tonight against the Kings, but maybe it's to give us time to watch Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
That must have been what it is. Over in the chat, Mark says, Zach Edey, 40 points. Draft stock, baby. He's such a fascinating study to me because he is not modern-day NBA fit. You know what I mean? Like, the bigs nowadays stretch the court. They can play around the perimeter. He's old school, find the smaller dude and back his ass down. And I don't know how that translates. Like I said this morning on the show, he's probably going to be, I would think, probably just because he's 7'4", like a late first-round pick. But I feel like he develops into, and I could be completely wrong in this. If I am, please call me out in a couple of years. But I see him being like off the bench, 6 to 8 points, 8 to 10 rebounds, couple of blocks, and I think the NBA game's probably too quick for him. Us.
You know what would be the best thing that could happen to Zach Edey? Falling towards the end of the first round and getting picked by the Nuggets.
And just learning from Jokic.
And then getting to go to practice every day and just, be around the Joker, go in for the Joker. And I think that as far as for personal success for that guy, because I'm not sure whether he's going to be like a one-man wrecking crew like he is in college.
He won't be. It's impossible.
Not.
Yeah.
But that to me would be really intriguing. Get a guy that goes in there on his rookie deal and there's no massive expectations. He's playing on a great team. He can go in and play some limited minutes.
Play like 8 to 10 minutes.
Every single day in practice, you're going up against Jokic. You're learning from Jokic. Because, listen, if he all of a sudden added a 3 to his game where he could kind of just, play outside and if the shot's there, take it and score and hit it. And you probably you're adding a whole nother level to the game. But we'll be paying attention to him. Certainly at least they didn't choke out this year like they did last year. You are part of a team that loses the 1 to 16 matchup in the tourney. That takes a full year to get over. And I would suggest they really haven't done it until now by getting to the Final Four. So bring it on. We'll see what happens next weekend. And this is now it's April Fool's Day today. You got the tournament on the weekend. And then the following week, you know what that is? The Masters.
The Masters.
So,
the Masters.
And then, of course, as soon as the Masters happens, it's Stanley Cup playoff time.
Well, and before the Masters, WrestleMania. You got WrestleMania coming up this weekend, too.
Well,
WrestleMania picks later in the week.
Yes, we do, folks. Oh, it's shaping up well.
It's always my favorite time to just sit back and let Huss cook on WrestleMania picks. Rod Z is in it, says nobody's beating UConn, and I would agree. UConn looks like they're about to go back to back. So we'll see how that plays out. They're in like an 11.5 point favorite in the Final Four, and Purdue's a 9.5 point favorite in the Final Four. I'm not sure you've ever seen 2 games with that big of spread in the Final Four, but UConn's that good, and NC State is obviously on a miraculous run as an 11 seed right now, and they're running into a juggernaut in Purdue. So very much looking forward to the Final Four, looking forward to the women's action tonight in March Madness as well. We got lots of other things to get to. Scotty Scheffler, Huss, from 5 feet? Blows it at the Houston Open? I thought for sure he was rolling that thing in and was going to pull it out, but he did not. What the hell was that about?
You know what? That's still just showing that there's a little bit of human in Scotty Scheffler. I was disappointed. Listen, Finau had that 62 on Friday, was 2 over on Saturday, and then actually came through big time late and birdie, got to 11 under. But Jaeger, credit to him, held on to it, man. The amount of pressure to be being followed by Scotty Scheffler and Tony Finau.
And so many other guys, too, just randoms, right?
It would have been like a 7-guy playoff if he hadn't made that. So it was, listen, it was a nice tournament. It was good that they had the big names in and around there on Sunday afternoon. But as I say, we now focus on Augusta. 2 weeks to go. We'll start getting the updated odds coming forward, and we'll go through there. Oh, I'm just looking at the chat here. Joelle from Northern Ontario, so tired. Joelle, you might need to mix in a nap. And Jen Cooley, what's going on with the Jets, Huss? Ay. Well, I guess we'll get to that at some point when we're talking about this Kings game tonight, but I prefer, as disappointing as this last couple of weeks has been for the Jets, new month, new opponent tonight in the LA Kings, a fully healthy lineup. Hopefully that will help. Some line changes. We will get to a WST parlay. I took the weekend off of those just because, you know what, when you keep at a certain point, stop beating your head against a brick wall, take a deep breath, and we will get to it. But one thing has really warmed my heart. And I mean, I'm not an Edmonton guy, but I spend enough time in the Edmonton circles. I am really giving myself that Barry Horowitz for bringing up on the lock shop at the end of January going, wait a second, we need a number on McDavid to come back and win the Art Ross. I'm thinking this will be like, obviously the Bouchard was huge for the lock shop because everyone
this
jumped
will be
on
the
it
biggest
early.
cash.
Well, because it seemed like everyone was in it. I mean, if you recall, Dusty, over the course that we did that show, we saw it. I think it might have opened higher than 25-1, to be honest with you, but went down immediately. 25, 23, 20, 17. But again, I mean, those are big, big numbers. And at the time, he was 19 points back, but they had 6 games in hand. We talked it out on the show saying, I mean, if he goes 2 points a game, which is very realistic for McDavid.
Oh, yeah.
In makeup games, we're talking about 7 points over more than a quarter of a season. This can totally happen. And listen, I know Kucherov and McKinnon got a couple points as well, but at the rate that McDavid's going, the one thing that I don't think we got a number on, but is absolutely also in the mix, is McDavid to hit his 1,000th point this year. I think he's 25 back.
Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, it's ridiculous what Connor is doing right now. I got it at 25-1. I saw some other people say they got it at like 30 plus. I remember getting it at 25-1 when we were talking about it. I went and double checked my account. I got it at 25-1. It's locked in.
I think and me too, but we were talking for a while. I think we talked about it. It got added. And I think it might have got added at 35-1, to be honest.
So, yeah, some people might have got in on that, right? Like,
but then I think they realized, well, wait a second. Maybe this is a little too aggressive. And then you realize, oh, everyone's betting it. And then it kind of came down throughout. But it got pretty much halved, I think, in 2 hours since we talked about it on the lock shop. And if that happens, there will be a collective celebration from the lock shoppers everywhere, because I think there's going to be some big, big additions into the Coolbet.
It's going to be some, see some big tickets. I saw guys with $40-$50 on it, and you're just like, oh man, these are going to cash very nicely. So fingers crossed.
Go on a certain list, a list over at HQ for Pat and Jake. We might get suspended for a little.
They're gonna be called into the Coolbet head offices and be like, "What the hell is this?" Well, you'll have to see. There's a bunch of people in Edmonton and Western Canada who saw great value on Connor McDavid when we threw it out there at 35 and 30 and 25-1, and they've absolutely destroyed us right now. With that being said, we've missed on a lot of bets too that Coolbet has won. So it's our chance to get one back. It's our chance to get one back on them. So.
Yeah, well, I've been doing my part to help them on the other side with the WST parlay for the last 2 weeks, as the Jets can't win a damn game.
Well, we'll get into the hockey stuff here too. Quickly on Major League Baseball, it was great. First two, how about the home run thing? Biggio and Vladdy Guerrero both hit bombs the first day. I cashed both those tickets. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I hit that 3-gamer on Thursday, I guess it was. And then I think it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday. And then the best part was Friday, I had another 3-gamer that also just required the A's to lose that night. And I was just, this is beautiful when you have all you need is the A's to lose at the end of the day. And so I cashed back-to-back 3-gamers to open the Major League Baseball season, which was kind of nice.
Well, I rode with you on your we each had a 3-gamer, but I bet yours because it was, I mean, I think it was minus 333 if I'm not mistaken.
Plus 333. Plus 333. Yeah.
333. So it still wasn't too bad. And we won the partner parlay on Thursday.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So it was a very nice start to the weekend when you add in everyone that was, I was ice cold going into that day. And I mean, no better example than everyone on the Jays hits a homer, it seems, except Bo Bichette, the guy that I had picked. But between your start and riding with you on that 3-gamer in baseball, the partner parlay, and then came through, and I actually cashed a nice one on Saturday as well. So the mojo seems to be back a little bit heading in, new month, hopefully new team when it comes to the home team here in Winnipeg, taking on LA today. And
your week for plays of the day too. So let's go
wins.
hot. Let's go hot this week.
Started off right. We got lots of options to get to today. I'll say that much.
There's no doubt about that. I love the fact that here on a Monday, and obviously because of Easter Monday, because we never really have that big a schedule on a Monday in the National Hockey League. But we got one tonight. We've fired over our parlays already. WST parlay, EST parlay. We'll let you know when those are up. Nasty Chat could definitely build something today with the amount of games that we have in the National Hockey League. As you've mentioned it a few times, the Oilers, since beating the Jets, beat the Kings, rolled over the Ducks, who are garbage, and now they're in St. Louis tonight to kick off a quick trip. St. Louis and Dallas. Big game against Colorado this weekend, Friday night, and then a Battle of Alberta on Saturday. So 4 games in 6 days for the, I guess it would be 4 and 6. 4 games in 6 days for the Oilers here coming up. But what is going on with the Winnipeg Jets right now, buddy? Get me to the bottom of this. You must be able to have a handle on this.
Oh, I have a handle on it. How much time do we have?
Well, we've got at least 32 more minutes.
Listen, first of all, the special teams have been a disaster. They finally got a power play goal on Saturday. They had gone 19 straight. Although in conversation with Sarah Valley today, he reminded me that the Penguins went 35 in a row with all of that Hall of Fame talent, which doesn't seem possible. But the power play had been killing them. The PK had gotten away from them as well, so they were in a bad spot. But 5-on-5, the Jets, for the most part of the year, had just been a great 5-on-5 team. Still been very good, line 4, line 3, even line 2. But the Jets' top line has just been getting absolutely killed. And the Scheifele-Connor pairing is feeling a lot of heat right now. It finally got broken up on Saturday. And Rick Bowness is going to the line that people have literally been asking for over 2 months since we saw them in December when Kyle Connor was out. And that was Ehlers, Scheifele, and Velarde. By every measure, it has been the best line all season long. But they've been so married to Scheifele and Connor together. But to be frank, both of those guys have been lethargic as of late. They've made some terrible plays, puck management-wise. And even worse, haven't seemed to be anywhere close to that engagement or intensity level to make up for their mistakes. Kyle Connor in the last 6 games is -10. Scheifele, I think, is -7. So they finally got, for everyone that wanted to see this line come back together, it seemingly was only going to happen if this team sort of bottomed out. And Saturday seemed to be that day. So it will definitely be a new look. Connor's going to be playing with Monahan on the second line. It looks like Perfetti might actually be in for Tyler Toffoli tonight. We're waiting to hear from Rick Bowness as to what is all that about. And, the defense could step it up too. Neil Pionk's really been struggling. It looks like he's going to be with Josh Morrissey tonight, which is kind of interesting. But overall, I mean, listen, things happen in an 82-game schedule, and the Jets have been good enough earlier on that they basically have been in the playoffs for the better part of 2 months. But the last week and a half, 2 weeks has been a really, really tough run for them. They haven't been able to win games. They've been finding ways to lose games, in fact.
Yeah.
And now it's about time to get going. I mean, I know someone said, like, we look at the standings right now. Edmonton, that Jets Edmonton series,
buddy, it's still out there. It's still out there.
If the Oilers could come back and beat the Canucks and win the Pacific Division, and they're 6 back, but they have 2 games in hand. Do they play head-to-head?
And they play them once, yes.
And they play them once. The Jets have 8 games left, have 94 points. The Predators are still 4 back. And the Jets have the tiebreaker as well because of all the regulation wins and regulation overtime wins. So it's unlikely that would have to, Jets are probably going to be finishing in 3rd, especially now that Nashville's come back to earth a little bit with a couple games where they got lit up. I think they've given up 15 in their last 2. But I can't say that Like for Winnipeg perspective, it's about them. It's about getting it together and start feeling better about themselves and looking like a team that can compete with anybody. Because it doesn't really matter. You can put Edmonton or Vancouver or Dallas or Colorado. If the team that's played the last 2 weeks plays in the playoffs, it's going to be over quick.
Yeah.
So our focus is going to be on what they're able to do this week. And listen, they've got a great, if you want to test yourself to get ready for the playoffs, this next schedule actually is good for Winnipeg. They've got LA tonight. They've got Calgary at home to finish up this homestand. And then they run the gauntlet through the Central Division. Minnesota, Nashville, Dallas, Colorado, all on the road.
Oh, boy.
And then 2 more games to finish up this season. So, I mean, as I said, it's fun to think about all the potential matchups. And there's a lot of things that would have to fall in place to, for the Jets to play in Edmonton or Vancouver. It would be real fun to have an all-Canadian series right off the bat. Probably be some good travel between both cities and those sort of things. I still think the most likely outcome is the Jets to play Dallas. But again, Dallas is on a 7-game winning streak right now. They've got 103 points, and Colorado sort of they lost 1 game. But that's how good the teams have been. And, you look back to 2 weeks ago, I mean, the Jets were winning, but all they were doing was staying right there with those other teams. I mean, at one point they were 91, 91, 91, 93, 93, 93. Since then, the other teams have just run away with it. And Winnipeg's in at 94. So it is kind of funny, though. The Jets and Oilers now with the same amount of points, and the Oilers with 2 games in hand. And who could have imagined that in late November or whatever? But the Oilers have pulled the ultimate Undertaker on the NHL season this year, and now seem ready to go. By the way, just while we're talking about playoffs, this race in the East is a turtle race unlike anything I've seen before. Listen to the Caps with their minus 31 goal differential are not even in a wild card. They're in the 3rd spot in the Metro right now. Philadelphia is holding down that final wild card spot. Detroit 2 points back with a game in hand. But for all these teams battling for the playoffs, Philly 3-5-2 in their last 10. Detroit 3-5-2 in their last 10. Both teams have lost 4 games in a row. And then you've got the New York Islanders that are 2-7-1 in their last 10 and 5 back of the Philadelphia Flyers, although they have 2 games in hand. And even New Jersey, like if New Jersey had just won a couple more games recently, they would be right there too. I'm hoping Philly gets in. Like, I think they had such a good, neat season against so many odds. But man, like it's a lot different in the East, what you get for playing a wild card team, or at least winning, because I'm not sure Tampa is such a great spot. The best place to finish in the East is number 1 in the East or number 2 in the Metro.
Yeah, you want to be, well, right now it would be Carolina and the Rangers, both teams in that mix. Carolina is number 2 in the Metro. Rangers are first in the East. So the Rangers would get the Flyers, and Carolina would play Washington. And then Tampa would play Boston, and Florida gets Toronto. So, I mean, good matchups in that in the other division. The other two, you would think that the Rangers and Hurricanes can take care of business. Our parlays are up. They are good to go. WST and EST parlay, and then we'll get into the NHL slate. I got the starting goalies sitting here just waiting for you. Playing it a little bit safer than usual on the EST parlay tonight. Connor McDavid, 2+ assists. He's closing in on 100. He's 4 away. He's going to get there this week. McDavid, 2+ assists. Bouchard with a point, and the Oilers to win tonight. Not in reg, as I said earlier on the show this morning. Could see St. Louis and Edmonton need a little bit of extra time tonight. But plus 335. McDavid, 2+ assists. Bouchard with a point, and the Oilers to win. Plus 335 tonight. And Huss, what do you got for the WST parlay?
Well, listen, we're going to ride with this new line, or the reconfigured line that has been the Jets' top line when it has played together this year. Mark Scheifele, Nikolai Ehlers, Gabriel Velarde, all to record a point. and the Jets to win on the money line. That is up at plus 500 right now. And this line, by the way, it is kind of funny that they're being put together and starting a game against LA. Because really, in a lot of ways, the turnaround that, led that incredible run of 30-odd games with 3 goals or less was in LA. The Jets were down 2-0. And then this line went crazy and scored, I think, 4 goals in about 11 minutes against the Kings. I think they had 11 points between the 3 of them. So they have had nice results against Los Angeles before as well. So let's see what they can do. Scheifele, Ehlers, Velarde all playing together on the Jet top line to record a point, and Jets to win. It is up at plus 500.
All right, find those in the exclusive section. If you have not yet signed up for an account over at Coolbet, use the code LOCKSHOP when you do, all one word, and you'll get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. We got our Vegas keyword coming up in about 12 minutes here on Edmonton Sports Talk today. Busy slate tonight in the National Hockey League. I've got your starting goaltenders for you. Then we'll dive in. I see some folks over in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. By the way, if you're there, hammer a thumbs up for us. And if for some reason you haven't yet subscribed to the Edmonton Sports Talk channel, feel free to do that as well. We would certainly appreciate it over here. If you are listening on TuneIn or on iHeart or on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can text us at 780-218-9999. Starting goaltenders tonight, Colorado Avalanche will be going with Justus Anunen. He is confirmed to start against Tarasov in between the pipes for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Tonight, Samsonov will start for the Maple Leafs. A big battle here, possible playoff preview, likely playoff preview between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. Bobrovsky for Florida, Samsonov for the Leafs. Alex Lyon will start for the Red Wings tonight. They are in Tampa to play the Lightning. Vasilevsky confirmed to start for the Bolts tonight. The Islanders will go with Varlamov, Samuel Ersson in between the pipes for the Flyers tonight. Shesterkin confirmed for the Rangers. Tristan Jarry will be opposite him in the other end, confirmed for the Penguins. Cam Talbot unconfirmed for the Kings tonight. LB will be going for the Jets. It'll be Binnington versus Skinner in this Oilers-Blues game tonight. And then Seattle and San Jose, the last game on the sked tonight. Right now at this point, with those morning skates having not yet happened, Grubauer and Blackwood both unconfirmed. Huss, there's some good hockey teams playing tonight. There's some good games tonight, some big games tonight. What's jumping off the page for you here?
Well, you know what? I'm going straight to one of the primo matchups, and that's the Panthers and the Leafs. The Panthers have not been particularly good as of late against teams in the playoffs. They lost 4 in a row. They beat Philly. They came back with another loss. They won 1. But I think they realized that this matchup against the Maple Leafs could very possibly be their first round matchup. They're throwing Bob in. They're going with their number ones. They're a slight road favorite. The one thing about the Leafs I find is that they have a tough time really stringing a bunch of them together. And they had the nice win, the shutout win in Buffalo on Saturday. But I'm feeling the Panthers in this one. I like Panthers money line at minus 124 in this one. And I'm also in on the Rangers. I mean, we talked about Pittsburgh and just where they're at right now. They're just sort of a middling team. This is a big game for the Rangers, not only to keep hold of first place, but to get a couple more up on everybody else when it comes to being that team that plays the second wild card, because you do not want the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, yeah, I'm in the Rangers, and I would actually, even if we wanted to look, minus 115 for the Rangers in regulation as well, Dusty. That one's at home.
Yeah, that's something that you could definitely look at as well. I've got a regulation play that I like. As Huss said, minus 115 on the Rangers in regulation. I think my favorite bet of the night is the Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation tonight at home, minus 111. The Lightning minus 182 on the money line. I mean, as we're building a parlay, I'm going to get a boost out of it from our partners over at Coolbet. I mean, maybe we can mix in one of these teams just on the money line. But Tampa Bay, I mean, if you're looking at teams that probably don't want to play Tampa Bay right now, the Boston Bruins cannot like a playoff matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. The Tampa Bay Lightning have points in 9 straight. They've won 8 of those 9 games. Their only game that they lost in there was a 4-3 overtime loss to the Los Angeles Kings. They just beat the Islanders 4-1. Before that, they beat Boston 3-1. They beat Vegas 5-3. Vegas has been playing extremely well lately. They beat Florida 5-3. They beat the Rangers 6-3. Like, they're beating bad teams. They're beating good teams. It doesn't matter whoever you put in front of the Tampa Bay Lightning right now, they're beating them. Detroit, on the other side, has lost 4 in a row against teams that I would put up kind of near the caliber of where Tampa's been playing at so far. They lost to Nashville. They lost to Carolina. They lost to Florida. And I think they're going to lose to Tampa tonight as well. So I love Tampa in regulation at minus 111 as its own just straight up play. If we want to throw them at minus 182 into a parlay, we can certainly do that, Huss. And then what about this Colorado-Columbus game? What do we do with Colorado trying to find value, I guess, on this game tonight?
Well, I mean, I guess you can just
puck line minus one. Puck line's minus 127.
Oh, okay. I was assuming that it would be 2.5 for the puck line.
No, it's minus 127. So I guess that would be the place to go. Like McKinnon, the Oilers tonight with McDavid over 1.5 points is like minus 123. We made it our Coolbet hotline of the day again because until that number moves, I'm going to kill it every single time. McKinnon tonight over 1.5 is minus 167. So they're expecting McKinnon to absolutely put the boots to the Colorado Avalanche. Against the Ducks on Saturday, I know you always appreciate this, a McDavid point wasn't even on the board. McDavid 2 points was like minus 2 something, and McDavid 3 points was like plus 220 or something. Like it was, and then he did it. He torched him. So yeah, they know what they're doing over there. So I don't know. I guess Colorado. I don't mind Colorado puck line tonight at minus 1.5. But I don't know. Where do you come out on Tampa money line or Tampa regulation?
I like Tampa regulation, and you know what? I don't mind Seattle Kraken regulation as well. If we wanted to, if you want to go all the way down to that late game, minus 123 against the Sharks. Yeah. Although they're not the most trustworthy team, to be perfectly honest with you, they're always so late. Let's just do a quick look and see. They're 2-6-2 in their last, but they had just come off wins against the Ducks. I'm just trying to see. They actually lost to the Sharks the last time they were there.
Yeah, they're only 2 wins in the last 10 against the Ducks. Mind you, the Sharks only have 1 win in their last 10. It was against the Blues. Yeah.
How bad was that? How bad was
That's
that for
a killer
St. Louis?
for the Blues.
Like hanging on.
They would have been 3 points back of a playoff spot today, buddy, if they didn't blow that one against the Sharks.
It would have been interesting. They've got such an uphill climb if they want to get it done. That felt like the last straw for St. Louis. But we'll see whether they have much left in them tonight because this is playing for their season. I mean, they need to go on a run right now to give them any hope of even playing meaningful games like a game 79, 80, 81 of the regular season. But that's tough to come back. I mean, 4-0 on home ice on a Saturday night to the San Jose Sharks. I do wonder. Binnington, however, he really has been great as of late. So that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about Edmonton. But to me, Edmonton's on another level, and I'm not sure that St. Louis doesn't just sort of proverbially pack it in for the rest of the season after the way they lost to San Jose on the weekend.
That is a killer. All right, so Tampa Bay regulation minus 111. You did mention Seattle. I don't know if you talked yourself out of Seattle after seeing their record. The Rangers, I do like the Rangers. You said Rangers. Were you looking at Rangers in reg?
Yeah, Rangers and regs minus 115.
All right.
I mean, it's minus 193 on the money line.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. So if we go Tampa in reg, Tampa Bay in regulation tonight at minus 111, and the Rangers in regulation tonight at minus 115. That brings us to plus 255. What's the third play here, Huss? Do you like Seattle enough?
Well, no. I mean, okay. I like the Avalanche puck line more than that.
Me too. I like the Avalanche puck line more too. So we
and it's basically the same thing. Or what about the Panthers against the Leafs?
just on the money line at minus 124. That's essentially the exact same number.
Yeah.
And I think I like the Avs on the puck line a little bit better.
Yeah, I think I'm here for that argument.
That puts it up to plus 535, which will get it close to 6-1. So I don't know if Jake's kicking around. Let me fire this over to the boys. Let's see here.
Tampa and Rangers in regulation, Avalanche puck line.
NYR in reg, and the Colorado puck line. All right, perfect. Beauty. Hey, what'd you think of anything else from hockey? I wouldn't mind your thoughts on the Jays and their start to the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's sort of that little Jekyll and Hyde team. Like, they had the great opening night, and the bats were popping, and then you go back to back with scoring one run. And I know I was with my buddy Dom, who's a Jays freak, on Saturday at the game, and he's like, "Oh, Kikuchi had given up, 70 pitches in the first 3 innings." I mean, they gave up 3 runs. It wasn't too bad. By the end, I mean, again, another 1-run effort. But then they broke out of it. I mean, listen, they're 500 right now after playing a pretty good team. Talk to me in a week. Like, I think if they can just hang on this road trip to start the season, it'll put them into a good spot for when they return home. But they've got Astros beginning tonight, and then they go to the Bronx for the New York Yankees. So, I mean, if even 4-6, I think you would take that, from the first 10 games on the road. But as I say, they got 2, and there are some positives right now. I mean, listen, Gausman, if anyone was worried about Gausman and how he was going to look out the gate, we saw it yesterday. Very good. And, will we see some better offense on a consistent basis? That's what I'm counting on right now. But overall, they didn't have to go too much into their top guys in the pen as well. So I don't know, like what do we have here tonight? Who let's see, starting pitchers for this evening. It is Francis and Blanco. So that's the 5 starter for the Jays. And I know they are plus 124
plus
tonight?
125 right now.
So 125.
Something that you could look at tonight if you want to get in on the Jays. Mike, he's coughing up a lot.
Sorry, little cough.
You got to get it. Yeah, I'll tell you this right. You got to get us. I'm going to diagnose you right now because my doctor has helped me. It's called a Symbicort inhaler. And it's not your regular like blue inhaler. It's like this. It's a steroid inhaler, and it like clears up your airways. So I've been on this Symbicort inhaler for like a week, and I only coughed like 2 or 3 times on the morning show all morning. So
that's good.
Yeah, get a Symbi now.
Is it a prescription thing, or you can just get it?
No,
wherever?
you're gonna have to get a prescription, which means you're gonna have to book an appointment, and then you get. So I think, I mean, unless you can go sweet talk a pharmacist or something, but. I had to get a prescription for it. But I'll tell you what, I think I've got 2 more prescriptions, so I'll go fill one. I'll put it in the mail, and I'll ship it to you.
Yes, perfect. That'll be great. My April gift is we start get to more pollen in the air. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, quickly, here's let me just give out this keyword, then we can get back to this Jays game here. The keyword for the EST, fly away to Vegas. For everybody listening on TuneIn, on iHeart, at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, or watching on YouTube, text this word in to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. And listen for the keyword 4 times per day. Coming up again on the oil stream here in the noon hour, on our noon hour show today. For your chance to win the trip to Vegas, 2 nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show presented by Fly YEG and the LVCVA. Nonstop flights over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from Fly YEG. Visit www.flyyeg.com for more. Your keyword today here on the Lock Shop is teaser. Text teaser right now. TEASER. Text teaser to 780-218-9999, $99.99 is in during the NFL season. I like to work 6.5 point teaser into my plays. Teaser, TEASER. Text that right now, 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Huss, you can make a lot of money off a teaser. Not going to lie. If you do it right, you can make it work. Muted, Huss.
You can also spend a lot of money at teasers. I'm sure the Winnipeg contingent in the chat is having a chuckle.
Oh, is that the name of an adult bar there? Is that the
Venerable Strip Club in Winnipeg, the longest and most famous one in the great city of Winnipeg? But there's no S. This is just teaser. Not teasers.
No S, just teaser to 780. I was going to say you could probably tie it into a couple of different definitions in Vegas. And it looks like you can turn it into a couple definitions in Winnipeg as well. So teaser, TEASER, that is your keyword for the EST Flyway to Vegas. Text that in right now. We'll give you about 7-8 minutes here, and Zach Dickham will call a qualifier around 11:50 today. How's anything else in the Jays? You were kind of in the middle of it then.
I mean, on the Jays itself, listen, not a bad start. On the road against a good team like Tampa, going 2-2, I think they'll take it. Now you just hope the bats can be a little bit more consistent and keep on getting the pitching that we've come to expect from the team. This is a really interesting night tonight, though. If you're looking just at the MLB odds board, in that, this is maybe the biggest crapshoot of the entire year, Dusty. The first start for most of the fifth starters in rotations around. The guys that are getting a look, I'm not sure if there's a strategy to maybe look at some underdogs tonight or some teams that, the odds maybe are a little more lopsided, in that there's very few teams that have rock solid 1 to 5 starting rotations. Usually it's 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and then they've got another guy that's, seeing what they can do. But there's some big lines tonight. Well, the White Sox are going to be massive underdogs every game this year, it seems. Plus 275 at home to the Braves. The Rockies are plus 205 at Wrigley to the Cubs. Royals plus 135 in Baltimore against the Orioles. And then there's some other shorter numbers, like the Angels and Marlins. Marlins are just a minus 114 favorite. And the Reds are getting plus 127 against the Phillies. Just going to quickly look at that. Abbott versus Sanchez. When Dunning's going for the Rangers against the Rays. What's that one? Rangers plus 110. I don't know, anything that stand out to you on the
I did hop on. I just want to get in on it quickly because the game's starting in about 25 minutes. But I parlayed the Braves at minus 323 with the Orioles tonight against the Royals at minus 154, and you can get plus 116 on that if you're just looking for a little two-gamer. So Braves and Orioles, just a two-gamer at plus 116. The Braves game does start, though, here at 10 after the top of the hour. So if you want to hop on that one, you got to move. You got to move quickly on that one. That's the only thing I've got into so far on the Major League Baseball slate for tonight.
I think I'm going to throw in. I'm going to go with the Orioles. I'll ride with you on the Orioles at home against the Royals. I'm going to take the Marlins minus 114 at home against the Angels.
Okay.
And you know what? I might take the world champs. Still can't get over the Rangers won the World Series last year. But,
legendary road run.
Dunning's on the mound. They started off 2-1. Pretty nice start. They're on their 4 starter, whereas opposed to the Rays are on their 5. And the Rangers are plus 110. So an Orioles, Marlins, Rangers parlay
Plus 550.
comes out to plus 550. So we'll throw down on that one and have a little bit of action. And again, thank you again to the partner parlay. and the other one. I should have thrown that one out on Saturday. It was a nice. Trying to think of what the.
And we got a really nice boost on the Lock Shop Partner Parlay today because we had it at plus 536, I think, and it's plus 615. So,
Whoa.
Yeah, it's already up. Tampa and the Rangers both to win in regulation. Colorado minus 1.5. If you want to ride with us on that one, it is plus 615, available over in the exclusives page at coolbet.com. Also, speaking of Coolbet, P. Greggy's in the nasty chat saying, someone please convince me not to bet Scotty plus 500 to win the Masters. And we got 2 weeks leading up to this. But you can never bet on anybody to win the Masters at 5-1, can you, Huss? Outside of Tiger, like 5-1 at the Masters seems. Scheffler's, I get it. He's been nuts. He's been lights out for a long time now. But 5-1 at the Masters. This is not the Houston Open.
Here's the one thing that I'll say to Pat and anyone else thinking about that. So there's a live event this week. Like, we'll see what happens with some of the big live guys. That number is not getting any shorter. Like, it's not like, I don't think you have to bet that right now.
You can wait on it.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's 6 or 6.5 or 7 by the time Masters week comes around, if there's some steam on other guys. And then I guess the other option is to bet him after the first round. Because I think unless he's the first round leader and way ahead, usually there's enough other people in the mix that, that number might come down a little bit. But when you look at how well he was striking the ball, and I know that putt's going to freak a lot of people out because that's the only thing that prevented him from winning about a dozen times last year. Scotty's certainly the guy to beat. Here's a question. And Pat, fire it in the chat as well, and anyone else out there as well. Who's the number 2 guy in the world right now? Like, it's Scotty for sure. Then who's number 2? Like, do we still give it to Jon Rahm? Even though he's out of sight, out of mind on live? Is it Wyndham Clark, who has legitimately been the number 2 guy behind Scheffler this year on the PGA Tour? It's not Rory.
When you first asked the question, the first name that popped in my head was Jon Rahm. So I think I'd have to go with that initial instinct. But it's a good question. Yeah, I'd say Jon Rahm still. Like, he's plus 650 to win Live Miami Golf this weekend. So it's funny because he's at plus 650. Neiman's at plus 750, and then you get down to like DeChambeau's at 11-1, Hatton's at 14-1, DJ's at 14-1. I don't know if I haven't been paying attention to what's going on in Live Golf, but to see DeChambeau ahead of like Cam Smith and Dustin Johnson and Koepka over there, odds, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of homework because I don't know. I don't know what's happening over on the Live Tour.
It's all about who's going to come up big at Augusta. And I think some of those guys we won't even see. Some of the ones that we will. Cam Smith shaved the mullet, by the way.
What?
The mullet is gone. He said he was tired of it. He got bored with it.
Well, now we can see more of his beautiful face.
Now he's got a nice, tight, clean cut look. And hey, by the way, if you do, we'll get into this on Wednesday. But Valero Texas Open odds are out. Rory 9-1, Ludwig Oberg 11-1, Hideki 18, Spieth 20, Corey Connors, Max Homa, Morikawa 22, and then Matty Fitz and Tommy Fleetwood. Fitz 25, Fleetwood 28, along with your guy Brian Harman.
Harman at 28, yeah.
Those numbers are all out there, but that will be a job for the Wednesday program. Tonight, we focus on our own teams, Jets and Oilers in action, partner parlay, a little baseball. And are you okay? Do we have a pick? Are you taking Iowa or LSU in this women's game? LSU plus 2.5.
I still haven't. I think I wish I knew more. I was going to ride with Caitlin Clark. And I'll take Iowa on the money line, though, because I'm a coward.
Okay, well, I'll take LSU.
All right, there we go. Lock shop rivalry for the women's Elite Eight
I should
tonight.
be getting the 2.5 points for the record, but we'll go money line plus 107 on the money line for this one. And
What's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk, Huss?
well, just lots coming out of the weekend for the Jets, and of course, game night tonight. We'll hear from Rick Bowness on the new look lines. Paul Edmonds, voice of the Jets, is going to come on with us. Jeff Hamilton from the Freak. And we'll also talk about the rest of the league and the visiting Kings with our pal Dennis Bernstein in LA. So it should be a packed one coming up at the top of the hour.
All right, there we go. That's Huss, Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up. We're going to get to our qualifier. Talk to you tomorrow, man. There goes Huss, Winnipeg Sports Talk on the way, right away here at noon. That's 1 o'clock Winnipeg time. And Pete Greggy says, guys, check out the March Madness exclusives, the women's March Madness exclusives. They've got 6 different ones over there. Caitlin Clark, 33-plus points. Iowa to win 2-1. Tommy Gazzola in here moving the entire desk right now. But there's a bunch over there. Her Majesty Caitlin Clark to record a triple-double tonight, plus 375. All right, Zach, who's our qualifier here in the Lock Shop today?
We got Richard here today.
All right, Richard, one step closer to a trip to Vegas. Congratulations, Richard.
Thank you, Dusty. I had to pull over to put in my lock shop bets, and then I got a call.
Well,
thinking, who's calling me?
That worked out extremely well, Richard. Who would you bring with you down to Vegas?
Oh, my son Joel, for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, best of luck, man. You're one step closer.
Thank you so much, Dusty.
There you go. That is Richard from, I think he's usually in the old Lock Shop chat over there as well. He is your qualifier here on the Lock Shop today for the chance to win a trip down to Vegas with our partners at Fly YEG. Another chance to qualify coming up on the Oil Stream with myself and Tom Gazzola. We will be diving in to all things Edmonton Oilers as the push to the postseason continues. Connor McDavid's ridiculous assist season continues as well. As he get to 110 by the time this thing is all said and done, I think he probably does, if not even higher. I mean, if he went on a real Apple heater right now, he could take a run at 120 assists. They need a couple of big games along the way from assist perspective to get it done. But, I don't think you can count him out on anything when it comes to what Connor McDavid is doing offensively from an assist perspective this season. We'll get into that a little bit coming up on a game day episode of the Oil Stream. Oilers and Blues tonight. Gazzola and I will have that for you coming up here at noon on Edmonton Sports Talk. That's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for joining us on the Lock Shop today. Best of luck with your bets tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.